A Texas Republican running for city council was arrested just hours before his election on charges of possessing explicit images of children. Brad Benson, a candidate for place number 4 on the City Council of Granbury, located just southwest of Fort Worth, was arrested on November 6th. It was later confirmed by Hood County Sheriff Roger Deeds. According to the bond report, Benson, a member of the Granbury Volunteer Fire Department, was apprehended at his home in the Water's Edge area of the city. To which I say, oops, wow. Now, immediately after his arrest, the Republican Party of Hood County withdrew their support for Benson after details about the charges emerged. Crimes of this degree tear at the heart and soul of society, and we condemn them in the strongest terms, an RPHC spokesperson said in a November 6th statement. The Republican Party stands for the conservative family values and protection of children. These heinous acts are antithetical to what Republicans stand for. No, I mean, this is the party that tries to bring back child marriage. Okay. But not only that, but look, the so-called party protecting children has been working real hard at trying to ease child labor laws, get rid of health care for transgender and non-binary youth, and have even tried to ban free school lunches. How's any of that working in the best interests of children? And look, as far as, of course, protecting them from predators constantly pointing in the wrong direction when it comes to who the predators really are, which is not transgender people, which is not members of the LGBTQ community at large, actually does more harm to children. And so, because it takes away valuable resources from going after, actual predators of children. Yeah. Like this guy, apparently. So anyway, they continue. The executive committee has spoken with law enforcement, confirmed more substantial information, and unanimously withdraws their support for Mr. Benson. It's time for the justice system to act. If Mr. Benson is proven guilty, the punishment needs to be swift and severe. So, one thing that I got to point out is, hey, QAnon, you missed this. You missed one. Where's QAnon? Every time this happens, QAnon, not there. Not there. What were they doing? I thought, Q, where's the latest Q drop on this guy? Oh, right. It's because Benson's not a left-winger. Now, just because he's gay doesn't mean that he's on the left, okay? It also doesn't say that, all gay people are predators, members of the LGBTQ community. No. This guy, conservative through and through. Both fiscal and ideology. In fact, he describes himself in a bio, and he and his husband, quote, both believe that private lives should remain private. Now, look, I agree that private lives should remain private. Sure. That should extend to, trans people, gay people, etc. Right? I would agree with that, right? Now, he also, though, says, I strongly believe that sexuality is a topic that should be handled within your own family, not in public schools or flaunted in parades. Yes. So massively against pride parades, and, against any sort of teaching that, gay and trans people exist in schools. Now, he also says that my political beliefs are conservative Republican. I believe in small and limited government, fiscal responsibility and accountability, and minimal obstacles to the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. No, you know what I think? I'm starting to think that his desire for small government might be so that he could get away with looking at CP. Just saying. Okay. I also want to note that, wanting to not teach about the existence of gay and trans people in schools, right, is a way to try to erase those communities. And also trying to avoid teaching sexuality in schools. That might be, in my view, a way to try to, help predators get to victims. And what do I mean by that? Well, again, predators prey on people who are obviously weaker, but also, those who don't necessarily know what's good and what's bad. Let me just say it, frame it like this, right? If you don't teach children, young people about things like consent, right? That's a super easy one. What's good touch? What's bad touch, right? If you don't have anyone there to teach those lessons, whether it be, inside your family or in a school or things like that, in a professional controlled environment, then you end up with people who might not realize that they're being victimized. Okay? And you see this from abuse survivors all the time when they tell their stories. Like, I don't know, I was abused for, as a child, and I didn't know that that what they were doing was wrong until I learned about it later. Well, that's why. And by the way, those of you who might argue, but this doesn't really belong in schools. Well, the counter to that is a lot of the abuse tends to happen at home with parents or family members. And so that's why it's important to have those outside resources, that outside knowledge for these children to be able to first understand what's happening to them, how they're being victimized, and to have the resources to be able to go to get help. Okay, that's why it's important. That's why it's important. And so that said, look, let me just add too, you can do this in an age-appropriate way. Not to harp on this, right? But you can do that in an age-appropriate way, and I'm in favor of that. Knowledge, again, prevents the real sexualization and victimization of kids, something that the right wing says that they're supposed to be fighting against, but all I ever see them do on that front is just go after members of the LGBTQ plus community, who, by and large, again, don't do this. Now, this guy happens to be a gay guy, but that has nothing to do with, him doing this crime. So that said, generally, people who are predators tend to try to get in positions of power. For example, being a member of the church. Well, guess what this guy was? He was a member of the church. And so, not a drag queen, not a left-wing woke radical. No, he was right-wing, church-going, God-fearing, gay Republican with a very dark secret. And I'm glad that he's now going to be off the street and won't be able to actually victimize any children.